Streaming live from across Pirate Nation, this is an ECU STEPP Town Hall.
And good evening, everyone, and welcome to an ECU STEPP Town Hall. I'm Sam Huffman, and I oversee the STEPP program's social media and marketing. We are so glad you all are here tonight. Before we begin our town hall tonight, I want to remind you that if you have questions, you can simply drop them in the comments and we'll answer them live right here and right now. I am joined by Adam Denney, who is the director of the STEPP program, and Thomas Vitti, who is a STEPP program tutor. Just a note that this town hall will be diving into answering your questions about our mentoring and tutoring services. So Adam Denney will be answering mentoring questions, and Thomas Vitti will be answering our tutor questions. So before we fully get underway, Adam, if you can please introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks so much, Sam. We're excited to be here this evening talking about mentoring and tutoring as it relates to the STEPP program. As Sam mentioned, I'm the director of the STEPP program, so I oversee the day-to-day operations of the program, the research overlay, as we have a heavy research overlay with the program. As a program, very unique in this aspect that does not have any additional fees associated with the resources we provide outside of tuition. I also work directly with grants and funders, donors, friends of the program to support those efforts, as well as internal and external partnerships to the program. And the reason that I'm also included is that I supervise our mentors and train and hire them. So very excited to be here tonight with Thomas, and thank you, Sam.
Thank you, Adam. So many critical roles that you do. So Thomas, if you can also introduce yourself, please.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Sam. So my name's Thomas, and I'm the psychology tutor for the STEPP program. I'm a second-year graduate student in the Industrial Organizational Psychology program. I don't do as much as Adam, but I'm also excited to be here.
Thank you, Thomas. Your role is just as important.
Yeah, thank you, Sam. I appreciate that. I was going to say a tremendous amount of support.
So we have already had a few questions that have been submitted, but again, I just want to remind people, if you have questions, drop them in the comments. We will answer them live as the priority. So let's go ahead and dive in, Adam and Thomas, to the questions that have already been submitted. Thomas, let's start first with you. So Thomas, what does tutoring look like at the STEPP program, and what is tutoring for those that may not be familiar?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, exactly. So tutoring in general is one-on-one or small group sessions that is held with the students in the STEPP program that they schedule with me when I'm available, when they have specific questions on content or maybe just content that they want to dive deeper into from their intro to psychology course. I encourage students to bring questions with them or specific topics that they want to talk about. It's also a time where the students can get extra help on assignments, essays, or things that are due. Maybe they have questions on what topics to include, as well as exams and tests. Tutoring at STEPP is unique because before the semester, or right when the semester even started, I was able to establish a connection with the professor who's actually teaching the section that all of the STEPP students are enrolled in. And when I was making this connection, I was able to go over what the course content was going to look like, kind of what the schedule was going to be, what the critical assignments are, how the assignments are going to be laid out. And with all these tools, I'm able to assist the students along the way and identify those focus areas.
That's great. Many key components to making tutoring services. One are just most important pieces of the STEPP program. Thomas, someone has heard, they mentioned about workshops, and they've heard probably Ashley mention that in the past, our transition specialist. What are workshops?
Yeah, thanks, Sam. So workshops are a critical part of the tutoring program. It's weekly sessions that are held with all of the students enrolled in the psychology course. And it's a way to make sure students are digesting and understanding the information that's being taught to them, through the lectures, but also through their readings. And it's not just simply reteaching exactly what the professor has already taught them. It's kind of getting more deep into what the content areas are in different ways that are engaging, such as gamifying the sessions, and also engaging with how the material relates to their everyday lives, and how it relates to even news stories around them. The ultimate
Got
goal is to make sure that they are not just listening to the lectures, but actually understanding what is being taught.
Very good. Awesome. Um, just a follow-up to that, how often are the workshops?
So we do the workshops every week for 1 hour.
Okay, that's that's great. So very comprehensive throughout. Um, Thomas, I'll still have you probably answer this next question
Mhm.
that we have. We actually had this also in like open house. Explain, what is the appointment process? How does that work?
Yeah, so students through, I believe through their Outlook app, they're able to make schedule sessions for those tutoring sessions, schedule time with me. It can be again in that one-on-one or in more of a group setting. But when they're scheduling the sessions, they are able to write notes on different topics maybe they wanted to discuss or assignments they're working on. And then we find a private area where we can go over their questions.
That's great. Adam, do you want to add any onto that, the appointment process?
Yeah, I think so. I think to run off a little bit on the workshop piece as well as the appointment piece, the workshops look different for each one of our mentor or tutors. So Thomas is specifically working on our psychology, which is that group setting really lends itself to that. Bringing concepts, universal design for learning, presenting materials in multiple ways, and expressing that information for students to grasp that. And I think he did an incredible job describing that. But with like our English tutor, that is less about concepts in the same way that Thomas is approaching it, and more about, okay, let's do this in a group setting and talk through different individual questions as students work through essays and prompts and things like that for English. Similar again with math, right? Math goes back to more of Thomas's approach, where I'm going to be introducing kind of the concept and the broader concept and supporting students systematically through a process. So the workshops themselves look very different and are designed very differently based off the content and the academic areas students are focusing on. In terms of the appointment process, again, Thomas did an incredible job breaking down what that looks like. I think what's really important for students to understand, prospective students to understand, the appointment process is really unique in the sense that at the beginning of the semester, what mentors will help you do is they can help you set up tutoring sessions for the entire semester, right? They can help you plan out based off of your availability and our tutors' availability exactly when you can meet weekly. But then there is also those moments where you're in class, you are introduced to a new concept, and you can just drop in when our tutors are there. So you could be very, very proactive and schedule time with tutors and put that into your calendar. But then they're also available within their schedules. They're not available every day, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, but in their schedules for drop-ins where students just have, hey, I just had this concept come through, wanted to learn a little bit more about this. So we love the appointment process because it lends itself to the program and our mission of being proactive and taking onus and ownership. But then also we have tutors just available in our cove, in our space daily to provide support in some of the major areas like English, science, math, and then as well as psychology.
Yeah, there's always someone there around the clock, able to assist students. And Adam will continue with one of the questions we did have actually that was for you as well. What is the difference between STEP's tutoring and other tutoring services offered by the university?
Yeah, so we have incredible tutoring support and services throughout the institution. So we have our partner within the Student Academic Success Services, a lot of acronyms, a lot of long names, but the Pirate Academic Success Center that offers tutoring for typically your 1,000 and 2,000 level courses. They are absolutely incredible. And then academic units have tutoring services within their divisions. But I think what's unique, or what is important for our students and prospective students to understand, is that our tutors are working directly with students in the STEP Cove, right?
Mm.
So that tutoring is happening in whether a workshop or in an individual learning space, learning study space within the STEP Cove. So students, in terms of having to access those resources and meet the other requirements of the program, like study hall and the EDUC curriculum, they can do that all in one space. So let's say they work with Thomas. Thomas is working with them on a concept, and then Thomas is say, hey, my shift is done, but Dr. Dietz is then there to continue that conversation, right? So, okay, how are we continuing to apply that? So I think that those are really, really important things that a lot of our students value, is being able to have access to those individuals in a very welcoming and a specifically designed learning atmosphere that is meant to benefit students.
Put it just perfectly. We'll move on now to our next question. And I'll have Thomas, I'll have you actually answer this one first, since Adam's spoken for a little bit. How do tutors help with planning on studying for exams? I know that can be really stressful sometimes for students, exam time. We're in midterms right now, so how do tutors help with that?
Yeah, and I think this is really important, especially because a lot of the students that I interact with are mostly in their first semester in college. So that exam difference can kind of be can be pretty extreme, and like you said, a stressful time. And what I work with students on is building a study schedule. Not trying to just cram everything into the end, but how it's kind of a process that goes through the whole semester. You're not just studying for the exam right before the exam. The entire learning process is studying for the exam by making sure that you're not skipping on to the next concept before understanding what was previously taught is critical in being able to succeed in those exams. In addition to that, making that schedule where this is when we're going to review this topic and things like that, I think is really important.
Got it. So let's see. Adam, do you have anything else you want to add on that? Do mentors help any in that piece?
Yeah, so I think that when you look at all of our services, they work collectively, right? There's a lot of layers to the work that we do. So our mentors are going to be working to help students implement that study timeline that Thomas is mentioning, to make sure it fits their academic weekly schedules, right? And so when do we study, right? When are we doing this work that Thomas is working with them on? So Monday through Friday, when they're looking at their 15 hours of study hall that they have to meet, when are they addressing that and working on that next exam, or they're working on that final or that next paper? So our mentors and our tutors work hand in hand with that, and assuring students are staying on track with that. So I love what Thomas mentioned, is like, it's not just that exam, it's like the semester long, right? Looking at a bigger picture of how those things all work together, because it's not just important to understand the concepts and content, it's understand the weight of each one of those exams. It's important to understand the weight of each one of those assignments, how it impacts you academically, right? Because everything that we're trying to do is translate that into understanding, so then students can internalize that and continue on and use those things in the future. So the things that Thomas is introducing in that first semester, it continues second, third, fourth, fifth, so on and so forth. So again, I think when we talk about those together, it's mentors and tutors together.
Definitely, for sure. Um, let's also look into something. I know Ashley tries to nail home this, and it's a question we get a lot, and we did get it again. Is how is tutoring different from high school? There of course are many differences of high school and college, but specifically, how is tutoring different than high school tutoring? Um, let's have Thomas. Let's have you answer that one first.
Yeah, and I think the biggest difference is instead of just making sure that people are just memorizing topics to get through the next exam, it's making sure that they're engaging with the topics in a way that solidifies that into their memory. And that's done through things such as writing down specific questions that they have for us, helping work through those concepts to get a deeper understanding.
Yes, that definitely is showing kind of the difference there. Um, I will add to that, Thomas. I guess one thing that is different though about tutoring maybe in college is, the tutor doesn't obviously necessarily come to the student. The student has to be the one who comes to the tutor, correct?
Yep, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Okay. So they probably do that, I guess, Adam, all through setting that appointment process.
Yeah, so that's where I talked a little bit about like students doing drop-in and things like that. So tutoring, one-on-one individual tutoring is not a requirement or expectation of the program. Workshops are built into our curriculum, so students are graded on that. That's kind of a requirement that they attend, but individual tutoring is not required. So it is really going to be important. Now we have things in place to identify those students that may benefit from tutoring. In our mentoring sessions, we're going to ask where students are, how they're progressing, so we can better connect them that way. But we are really looking, again, self-advocacy is a major component. Self-awareness is a real major component of the program. We're looking for students, again, to take that ownership and be actively participating in their academic success, right? So recognizing those moments when they need to seek Thomas. And again, maybe that is at the beginning of the semester saying, I know this is going to be a difficult course. I know this is going to be challenging. I'm going to be proactive in scheduling them out, or reaching out to Thomas, again, in those moments of, hey, this is a new concept. I really am not grasping it. I need some further assistance. But I wanted to go a little bit further with the difference between high school tutoring as well, if you don't mind.
Absolutely, sure.
I think what's always important, and this is something that we always stress with students, Thomas is very unique in the fact that he's enrolled in a graduate school program, and is very much, I would say, very much an expert in his area in psychology. So I'd be willing to say that Thomas could probably teach an intro to psychology course, but that's not the case for every one of our tutors. Most of our tutors are second year, third year students that are not experts in the content. They have gotten an A in that course, and we are very, very confident in their skill set, but those individuals are not experts in every single one of those academic areas. So tutors do not replace, and will never be, we never want students to only use tutors for their academic success. It's working with their professors, attending office hours. So again, I think that students and prospective students need to understand that our tutors are never expected to be the complete expert. So there are concepts that they may say, you got to go talk with your professor, right? This is definitely something like, let's go a little bit deeper. Let's go a little bit further. Again, Thomas is unique, and I want to appreciate and respect that. But most of our tutors are undergraduate students that have gotten earned an A in that course. And again, very confident and trained to support student success. But I do think that that's a difference, because in that K-12 setting, you're working probably with the teacher, right, that has gotten a degree in that piece, and they're now teaching, right, and maybe has spent hopefully 20, 30 years teaching that. So that's where it's like, hey, it's that direct. It's not just a tutor, it's your teacher. It's and again, I think Thomas had mentioned this earlier. Some of the other differences are, not only do you have to be proactive and seek out that support, we want it to be a good use of your time. So coming with questions, coming with rubrics, coming with your notes, coming to Thomas and saying, this is specifically what I am having a challenge with, can you help me with, is really going to be important as students start to think about their day and how they balance that out, and are now in 15 course semester hours, 5 classes. They've got to do study hall, tutoring, mentoring. So, that time is really valuable. I think another big part about that is that students do far less, almost nothing in terms of homework and academic learning in the classroom. That's all expected to happen outside of that, right? They're introduced to topics, and they're expected to lead that learning outside of the classroom. Whereas in the K-12 setting, many students have time to do homework, have time to ask questions, have time to access their professors and teachers. So being very proactive and prepared to come into those meetings is going to be an important step. And we work with students to develop that skill too.
Yes.
I'm going to be remiss to say that. So.
Yeah. Both very good answers, Thomas and Adam, to that. We have just a few more minutes remaining. So again, I do want to remind anyone that's just hopping in because I just saw a few people pop in on those numbers. If you do have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments and we'll answer them here live. If you're rewatching this live stream, you can still drop your comments. Drop your questions in the comments and we will private message you and answer them. We're going to shift gears a little bit towards mentoring for the last few minutes, and Thomas, still feel free to chime in if you want. So, Adam, it's kind of the same thing like we started off with Thomas. What are mentors, and are they undergraduate students that they're a mentor?
Yeah, so our mentors are graduate students. So our mentors, they come from a variety of academic backgrounds. We have students that have attended University of North Carolina, Wilmington. We have students from, all over the country that are coming to ECU for graduate school, and they have done a variety of undergraduate programs, and they are enrolled in a variety of academic programs in graduate school. So we have a student that's enrolled in a master's degree for music right now, social work. We had a student that was enrolled in speech language pathology, counseling, IO Psych. We have had several students from the same program that Thomas is enrolled in. So I think that that's really important because they come with, I think what's really great is we always want to bring different personalities, different perspectives to support students because the rapport is so important. So we really don't want it to look the exact same because it's not going to look the exact same for every student. So we value the diversity in the backgrounds of our students academically. And what they can contribute on that now professional level. But they are graduate students. What we like to do is we like to hire them for the entire academic year. So fall and spring semester, I know a lot of families have questions of, will it be the same mentor? And we try very much so to, again, rapport is so important to this because, students need to be upfront and honest where they are academically progressing. So we try to maintain that mentorship role for the entire year. But that also means that students have the opportunity to say, this is just not working. I'd prefer to work with another mentor as well. But they're building that relationship day one. So the STEP program has boot camp. We have students attend the week before classes start, and our mentors are all there working with students, starting to get to know them, starting to develop that relationship. So that's really day one. I mean, day one. It's literally, they're going through the different aspects of boot camp with students, and it is so critical. I mean, it really is, because while we are an academic program, there are things that are just naturally occurring in college, right? Roommates, friends, all of those things. And while we don't have programming and are not designed to support the social aspect of it, there's just natural conversations that happen that mentors support students with. In addition to their academics, right? And helping them be successful in that component.
Got it. Very comprehensive as well, just like our tutoring services. We have just about 5 minutes left. So let's see here of another question that we do have. Planners. What is a planner? How do mentors help with this?
Yeah, so planners is one of our time management really everything, time management organization, academic. Planners are something that we introduced to students first semester, and we introduced this planner, this academic planner, as a means for students. So we're going to introduce them to a lot of different approaches to the planner, right? And the planner is broken down by day by day, week by week, month by month, right? And the whole idea is to introduce students to a variety of ways to approach planning their academic success. So those planners are created by STEPP. They are absolutely research-based, best practices. And in that first semester, what we are having students do, and with their very first meeting with mentors, they are planning, right? So they are going to look at their syllabus. They're going to see when they're in class. They're going to make notes of that in their planner so they know from 10 a.m. to 10:50 they're in psych. From 1 to 2:50, they're in English, right? So they're going to plan that aspect of it. They're going to plan out when they're going to spend their 15 hours in the Cove. And what's really important with that is that we don't want students, those 15 hours have to be spread out over 5 days. We know students Academically, it is really challenging to stay focused for 3, 4, 5 hours. So we're looking at how they can break that out. So we're looking at that big picture of structuring that, right? When are they going to meet with their mentor? When are they going to meet with their tutors? When are they going to be in class? But then we start to get even deeper with the planners, right? And that's where we work with students to understand what is really important for them to be writing down to make that planner meaningful. So I was working with a student the other day, and it was very important for that individual to write exactly what he was working on during that hour in study hall and exactly where he left off. So that way, when he came back in that 2 hours later, go ahead.
I'm going to interject because we actually have a question.
Oh, great.
What should a STEP student do if his or her assigned mentor is not available in the Cove?
Yeah. So our mentors are working, they are assigned with an individual mentee, but our mentors are available to support every student in the Cove. So if their specific mentor is not there, we want, and actually we are encouraging our mentors to be more proactive in working with students in that sense, but we want our students to always have somebody available because our mentors are our first line of offense. So if their mentor is not there, they can access any of the mentors and talk with them for academic success.
Got it.
That's awesome. A great question.
That is a great question. Since we have just about 2 minutes, I think if Adam, if you can answer this one real quickly.
I'll do my
best. Is there a fee associated, same thing with Thomas, is there a fee associated with mentoring and tutoring services?
Thomas?
No.
Yeah, whichever one.
No.
So, I'll be very quick. Yeah, I think that is one of the unique things about our program that sets us apart to other programs across the country. There are no fees for mentoring, tutoring, accessing our curriculum, our instructional specialists, our transition curriculum, all of those things that make STEP, there is no additional cost to it. And we're very proud to be able to do that and to provide those supports to students.
That's awesome. So many great resources for sure. Well, we are just about out of time for tonight's an ECU STEPP Town Hall. But before we end, I'll start with Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
If you can, what is one word that best describes the STEP program?
So for this, I chose the word community. It's a community of not just the students, the mentors, the tutors, all the employees involved. It's just one big community.
Great. And Adam, what's one word that would best describe the STEP program?
I hate to go with a very easy answer with partnerships, which is what STEP, supporting transition education, planning partnerships. But I truly believe partnerships because, and I think this is something we emphasize with students, it's not just about STEP, right? The academic success, the success of our students, there are so many individuals and programs and departments across this university that are supporting that in partnership with our office, right? I talked about Pirate Academic Success Center, Disability Support Services. Thomas talked about working with a faculty member at the beginning of the semester in the psychology department. So we have the academic support. We have support from the institutional administration, our provost, our chancellor. Those partnerships are so important. And I truly believe that that's what makes STEP so special, is the partnerships we have at the university.
Most definitely. There is support and care all around, not only at the ECU STEP program, but also throughout East Carolina University with our wonderful partners. Well, I want to thank everyone who has joined us tonight for an ECU STEP Town Hall, and anyone who's also watching across Pirate Nation. Thank you so much. And thank you to Adam, our director here at the STEP program, who was talking tonight about our mentoring. And then for Thomas, who's a tutor here at the STEP program, a truly valued member of our family. If you have questions about the STEP program, feel free to visit our website, step.ecu.edu, or you can also just send us a message right here on social media. We will get back with you as soon as possible. Well, thank you again, everyone, for joining us tonight. Go Pirates.